Hello and welcome. This is Notibot ENG. Tonight, we bring you a special news recap focusing on the escalating tensions in the Middle East. The situation between Iran and its enemies continues to deteriorate, with warnings from Tehran's IRGC against U.S. attacks on Iranian ships. Meanwhile, Israel has bombed targets in Lebanon, and Russian President Putin has issued a stark warning about the consequences of an ongoing war. We'll also explore the strategic benefits of the Caspian Sea for Iran and examine if there are any winners in this unfolding conflict. As tensions escalate in the Middle East, a complex web of threats and conflicts is unfolding, with Iran and its adversaries locked in a perilous game. The U.S.-Iran ceasefire remains intact after a tense standoff between the two nations. According to reports from Al Jazeera English, Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, has issued a stern warning to the U.S., urging it to refrain from attacking Iranian ships in the region. The warning comes as tensions between the U.S. and Iran continue to simmer. In recent weeks, there have been several instances of clashes between American naval vessels and Iranian boats in the Strait of Hormuz. The IRGC claims that these incidents are part of a broader campaign by the U.S. to disrupt Iran's maritime trade. The U.S. has denied any such intentions, but has acknowledged that its military presence in the region is aimed at deterring Iranian aggression. The situation remains volatile, with both sides maintaining a hardline stance. Meanwhile, across the Middle East, Israel has launched a major air assault on Lebanon, killing 24 people and wounding many more. The attack appears to be a response to recent rocket fire from Lebanese militant groups towards Israeli territory. The Israeli military says it is targeting alleged terrorist bases in southern Lebanon. However, human rights groups have condemned the attack as a disproportionate response to the rocket fire. Lebanon's Prime Minister, Najib Mikati, has called for an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council to discuss the situation. The attack raises concerns about the escalating violence in the region and its potential impact on regional stability. As the conflict in Ukraine rages on, another protracted battle is drawing attention. Can the parties to the Iran-Iraq war find a lasting resolution? Reports of explosions near Iran's Bandar Abbas and Qeshm Island have put pressure on a fragile U.S.-Iran diplomatic track. The latest incidents come as Washington and Tehran are still working towards a short-term memorandum to halt fighting and stabilize shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. According to Iranian state media, explosion-like sounds were heard late Thursday and early Friday near Bandar Abbas, Qeshm Island, and other parts of Hormuzgan province. The U.S. military has increased its presence in the region in response to attacks on ships and facilities, but no direct retaliation has been reported at this time. Pakistan is mediating talks between Washington and Tehran, with a framework aimed at addressing core disputes over Iran's nuclear program, ballistic missile arsenal, proxy networks, and expanded control over maritime passage. However, the process has stalled, and Iran remains under pressure to accept the latest proposal. The U.S.-Iran conflict has far-reaching implications for the region and global security. The Gulf states, which rely on U.S. protection, are increasingly exposed as their ports, airspace, energy infrastructure, and commercial corridors become vulnerable to attacks by Iranian-backed militias. This creates a contradiction for Gulf states, who need to balance their economic interests with the need for security. The conflict has also had significant repercussions for other regional players, including Israel, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, Pakistan, China, and Russia. Each of these countries has emerged with partial gains or vulnerabilities, while others have gained diplomatic relevance or strategic space in a more fractured international order. The situation remains volatile, and further escalation is possible if talks fail to produce a meaningful agreement. As tensions escalate in the Middle East, a stark warning from Russia's President Vladimir Putin has sent shockwaves around the globe. Russian President Vladimir Putin has warned that the world will suffer if the conflict involving Iran continues. In a statement, Putin expressed hope that the fighting would end as soon as possible, citing the potential consequences of a prolonged war. The conflict in question is ongoing in Yemen, where Iranian-backed Houthi rebels are fighting against a Saudi-led coalition. The situation has been escalating since 2015, with tensions spilling over into other parts of the Middle East and disrupting global energy markets. Putin's comments come as Russia seeks to position itself as a diplomatic intermediary in the conflict. Moscow has maintained close ties with Iran and has been accused by some of supporting the Iranian-backed rebels in Yemen. The situation matters for several reasons. The war in Yemen is already one of the world's worst humanitarian crises, with thousands of civilians killed or injured and millions displaced. The conflict is also having a significant impact on global energy markets, as oil-rich countries such as Saudi Arabia and Iraq are affected by the instability. Furthermore, Putin's comments suggest that Russia sees itself as a key player in efforts to resolve the conflict. This has raised concerns among Western powers, which have been critical of Russia's involvement in the crisis. The US and other countries have called on Russia to use its influence to help bring an end to the fighting. With tensions remaining high, it remains to be seen whether Putin's warnings will be enough to persuade Iran and Saudi Arabia to negotiate a peace deal. As we explore the growing importance of international trade routes, a historic body of water is being rediscovered by nations seeking to expand their economic influence. The Caspian Sea, often overlooked as a strategic trade route, has taken on new significance in recent months. Iran has been leveraging its access to this landlocked body of water to bolster its military and economic capabilities amidst the ongoing tensions with the US. Russia has been shipping significant amounts of military equipment and commercial goods through the Caspian Sea to Iran. According to reports, Russia's defense ministry has been working closely with Iranian officials to ensure a steady supply of arms and military equipment to Tehran. These shipments have reportedly included advanced air defense systems, artillery, and other military hardware. The significance of this development lies in its potential implications for Iran's ability to withstand the US-led sanctions and military pressure. By securing access to these strategic goods through the Caspian Sea route, Iran can reduce its reliance on China and other international partners for much-needed supplies. This move is also seen as a demonstration of Russia's growing willingness to support Tehran in its efforts to counterbalance Western influence in the region. As tensions between Iran and the US continue to escalate, this development highlights the complex web of alliances and rivalries at play in the Middle East. With both Russia and Iran seeking to counterbalance each other's influence in the region, the Caspian Sea is emerging as a key battleground for strategic trade and military cooperation. As the situation continues to unfold, one thing is clear: the Caspian Sea has finally come into its own as a vital player in regional geopolitics. A senior Iranian military official has raised alarmingly high stakes in the region, warning that US forces are now within range of Iranian ballistic missiles. Today's headlines are dominated by a warning from Iranian Commander General Sardar Musavi of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Aerospace Force. In comments carried by Iran's state-run media, Musavi stated that IRGC missiles and aerospace drones are locked onto American targets in the region and aggressor enemy ships. According to Musavi, these military assets are currently awaiting orders to strike their designated targets. This comes as tensions between Iran and the United States continue to escalate in the Middle East. The US has been conducting military exercises with its allies in the region, including Israel and Saudi Arabia, which Iran sees as a threat to its national security. In response, Iranian forces have been on high alert, and the country's military capabilities have been put on display. This latest warning from Musavi is significant because it highlights the growing tensions between Iran and the US in the region. The US has not commented directly on Musavi's remarks, but officials have warned that any attack on American interests would be met with a robust response. The situation remains fluid, and further developments could lead to increased military activity in the region. For now, it appears that both sides are bracing for potential conflict, and the world is watching with bated breath as this crisis unfolds. In that, we'll leave you for now. For the latest news, insights, and analysis on global events, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll keep you updated as more information comes in. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in our next broadcast. Until then, stay informed.